Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Konrad Gorliński and this is the news. This afternoon, Russia's Supreme Court ruled that the country's best-known human rights group, Memorial, must be liquidated for breaking a law requiring groups to register as foreign agents, the RIA news agency has reported.
Police arrested at least 5 protesters outside the court where proceedings took place, according to Russian independent news outlet Soda Vision. The ruling caps a year of crackdowns on opposition movements and rights groups, which has also seen the top Kremlin critic jailed, his political movement banned, and many of his allies flee the country. Moscow says it's simply enforcing laws to thwart extremism and shield the country from foreign influence. The Interfax news agency quoted a lawyer for Memorial, which has said the lawsuit was politically motivated, as saying that it would appeal both in Russia and at the European Court of Human Rights. Established by prominent dissidents in the final years of the Soviet Union, Memorial initially focused on documenting the crimes of the Stalinist era and has more recently spoken out against repression of critics under President Vladimir Putin. Putin said this month Memorial had defended organizations that Russia considered extremist and terrorist, and its list of victims of political repression had included Nazi collaborators. Much of Memorial's work has focused on repressions carried out by Soviet state security bodies, including the KGB, where Putin once served as a spy abroad.
And in addition to the ruling on the Memorial Rights Group, Russia has also detained 2 allies of jailed Kremlin foe Alexei Navalny, a prominent opposition activist said today, adding that they could face extremism charges that carry lengthy prison terms.
Russian authorities have in recent months cracked down on groups affiliated with Navalny, 45, who is known as President Vladimir Putin's most vocal critic. He's serving 2.5 years in prison for parole violations related to a fraud case he says was politically motivated. In June, a Russian court ruled that Navalny's anti-corruption foundation was extremist. Then, after his allies regrouped around a new network of organizations set up for Russia's parliamentary election in September, authorities started investigating campaign staffers on the same extremism charges. On Tuesday, state investigators detained the former heads of provincial election headquarters in the Siberian cities of Tomsk and Irkutsk for questioning. Leonid Volkov, a Navalny ally living in exile, wrote on messaging app Telegram. Volkov said he had tried to persuade both activists, Ksenia Fedeyeva and Zakhar Sarapulov, to leave Russia, as he and a number of other dissidents have done, but they refused. The investigative committee, the state body tasked with investigating crimes and pressing charges, could not immediately be reached for comment on the case. Navalny was flown to Germany last year for medical treatment after being poisoned in Siberia, with what Western experts concluded was the military nerve agent Novichok. The Russian government has denied it was behind the poisoning and rejected the experts' findings, which prompted a fresh wave of sanctions against Russia and accused the West of a smear campaign against it.
Belarusian propaganda is using the figure of the deserter Emil C to attack Poland. A few weeks ago, this soldier fled to Belarus, after which he accused Poland of cruelty to migrants. The Belarusian media are spreading these lies. The Polish prosecutor's office has issued an arrest warrant for the deserter, and the court has authorized the soldier's provisional arrest.
As Polish law prohibits posting the accused's full name, hitherto known Emil C is suspected of desertion. This crime is punishable by 1 to 10 years imprisonment. At the moment, we cannot conduct activities with the participation of the suspect. The letter of arrest and the temporary arrest warrant are to allow us to carry out investigative actions. All the circumstances of the case will be investigated in the course of the proceedings. At present, an order for prosecution on suspicion of desertion has been issued. Conducting activities with the participation of the accused will allow a comprehensive explanation of the circumstances of the case.
Finally, the Polish Prime Minister has said media reports that opposition figures are being spied on with Israeli-made software must be verified to make sure they're not fake news. Mateusz Morawiecki was commenting on reports that the mobile phones of some members of Poland's opposition had been infected with the Pegasus spyware made by Israel's NSO group.
Pegasus is a spyware which allows access to mobile devices and allows the extraction of passwords, files, photos, browsing history, contacts, and identity data. The alleged victims include Roman Giertych, a former education minister, who has also represented Donald Tusk, the opposition leader, in his professional capacity as a lawyer, Maria Wrzosek, an independent prosecutor who has voiced opposition to the Polish government's reforms of the judiciary system, and Krzysztof Brejza, the main opposition Civic Coalition's chief of staff. Morawiecki told a press conference on Tuesday that media reports regarding the use of Pegasus should be corrected, as we must not allow ourselves to be imposed upon by fake news. You can't impose such fake news on yourself. This is the way certain media operate, that they create fake news and then someone quotes it, citing it as if it were a reliable source. And suddenly everyone assumes that this was the reality. Well, ladies and gentlemen, nothing of the sort has happened. There is no such reality. I have no knowledge of any such thing having happened. He reiterated that there is no evidence that such wiretapping took place. In a statement to the Polish press agency last week, Stanisław Żaryn, the director of the National Security Department, called the Associated Press and subsequent Polish media reports unfounded and said that all surveillance operations in Poland were carried out in keeping with binding laws and regulations.
As usual, thanks for tuning in with us this evening. I hope you stick around for Poland Daily Business, Poland Daily Weather, and other programs. But from me, it's have a wonderful evening.